This video is sponsored by HelloFresh. I'm gonna start things off with some I statements. I am a living organism that requires sustenance to function. I find it difficult to plan and create meals because of the work-life imbalance of modern society. I gotta stop eating chips for dinner. If one or more of those statements applies to you, I'm gonna tell you about a little thing called HelloFresh. HelloFresh delivers meals straight to your door. You got all your ingredients, easy instructions, and you put it together. Without shopping or dealing with leftover ingredients or any of that stuff, suddenly you've got a healthy, super tasty meal that's way fancier than the stuff I normally make on my own, I'll tell you that much. I mean, look at this. Tuscan beef stuffed peppers with pearled couscous. Oh, come on. Butter basted chicken with candied bacon Brussels. Ah! The great thing about HelloFresh is that you can completely customize your plan. You pick the meals and decide how often you get them. Use my link or go to HelloFresh.com and use the code POG-ARLO16 for up to 16 free meals plus 3 surprise gifts across 6 HelloFresh boxes plus free shipping. Gifts include free appetizers, free desserts, and free premium recipes. If you'll excuse me, I think that might just be my next HelloFresh box. Hello, Uncle Feeney. No, you can't borrow my toothpaste again. Buy your own toothpaste. Still don't. Hello, my sweet and wonderful friends. Pokemon Legends Arceus arrives soon, and if you're anything like me, it's got you feeling pretty nervous. A heck of a lot is riding on this game. After 3 controversial releases on the Switch, this is a big opportunity for the Pokemon Company to redeem themselves in the eyes of less satisfied fans. Sure, the games are selling better than ever, but if anything, that's why it especially feels like the company is now at a crossroads. Can rushed projects definitively be considered the norm for Pokemon? Is that just an inescapable reality? Are we doomed to find Pokemon enjoyable at a base level, but not too much beyond that forever? Or could Legends Arceus be the next big thing in Pokemon? Could it satisfy us and renew our faith in the franchise after 3 entire sets of games that each felt like they were shoved out the door to meet the holiday rush? Could this be the title that feels like it's been given proper room to breathe and develop? We'll have to wait and see, but in the meantime, we might as well have a good old chat about our hopes and dreams for the game. What kind of stuff would make Legends Arceus a worthwhile experience for me? Keep in mind that I've only seen a few trailers, and I haven't really dug into all the known information on the game, so it's possible that some of the stuff I talk about here is already clear to most people. I'm just trying to not see too much before I get to play it myself, you know? So grab your ghost fish and let's get started. These are my hopes for Pokemon Legends Arceus. My first hope is an obvious one. One of the biggest issues people have with modern Pokemon games is how they look. Sword and Shield had nice looking elements, but felt very cheap in many ways. The wild area definitely left something to be desired when compared to similar open areas in other games. Legends Arceus also features wide open places, and I want to see a dramatic improvement in visuals. Early footage of the game has me feeling a little iffy. The world looks nice in its own way, but it's a little hard to tell how it will all look and feel in action. YouTube hates grass, and games like this tend to get chewed up during encoding, so I won't quite know what it's like until it's on my TV. The frame rate has also got me worried. Footage so far has been very choppy, but I just have to hope that by the time the game launches, things have been cleaned up at least a little. My hopes aren't high, but it's at least possible it will run okay. I'm not looking for miracles here. I just want it to actually feel like a Switch game, and I'm sick of games that don't feel properly optimized. Next, the story. I want this game to tell a decently compelling story with enjoyable characters. I'm actually feeling hopeful here because this game's structure presents new storytelling opportunities. Instead of slowly working your way from town to town and fighting other trainers in a bid to become the best, it looks more like you're adventuring out in these open areas to do research and regularly reporting back to your base of operations. This is a chance for Pokemon to tell a new kind of story based on new motivations, and to naturally develop develop a cast of characters instead of just shoving them in our path every once in a while so they can remind us what we're supposed to be doing. Again, I ain't expecting Shakespeare here, but I have no doubt they can deliver a decent narrative experience. I'm really excited to see what they come up with. And speaking of the game's structure, I really want them to utilize it in fun ways. Anytime you make a big change to the way a game is played, that change has got to justify its own existence. I want a lot of reasons why it's worth going out to do research and whatnot, then returning to one primary area, instead of just town hopping like usual. My main thought here is to allow the player to upgrade and or customize the town. That would be one good way to utilize the new structure. Okay, so I still don't quite know what the gameplay loop is like in Legends Arceus or what I'll spend most of my time doing. I can tell that you catch Pokemon by sneaking up on them or by confronting them, in which case you have to dodge around a bunch. I can tell that you've got little missions to fill out, so you'll probably be catching lots of Pokemon, and somewhere in there, you've got turn-based battles. Even though I'm not quite sure on what the game is, I've still got plenty of wishes here. However the game ultimately plays, please let it respect the player's intelligence. The hand-holding in Sword and Shield, particularly in the first chunk of the game, was absurd. Tutorials are fine, but I really want Legends Arceus to ease up significantly. Don't stop us to remind us of the basics and to push us to our next objective constantly. If Pokemon truly is pulling a Breath of the Wild here, then I hope they studied the shift between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild. We need a modicum of freedom in learning here. Then, whatever the main feedback loop ends up looking like, I'm really hoping it hooks me. I love the act of catching Pokemon, and I love doing missions and side quests and filling out lists. If the gameplay is satisfying enough, zoning out on a huge amount of silly objectives is great fun. So this idea of sneaking around, catching stuff, researching, meeting little goals, filling out a Pokédex with way more detail than usual, it's an Arlo hooking recipe, no doubt. So I suppose I just hope that the loop and its rewards are satisfying enough. I hate reaching the end of a Pokemon game and feeling like once I've beaten the last trainer, I'm done. This is a chance to have a large body of goals to accomplish and keep me playing longer. In order for that to happen though, catching Pokemon really does have to be fun. The idea of sneaking up on Pokemon is really cool because it feels like they're real animals in their natural habitats. Though I'm less into the idea of catching a Pokemon just by throwing a ball instead of weakening it first. I do like the idea of catching a lot of Pokemon and being properly rewarded for it though, so I guess what I'm saying is that I hope the whole catching process is fun and worthwhile. If it's integral to the experience, it's got to be executed well. And that goes doubly for these encounters where you gotta catch a Pokemon without it killing you. I really don't understand why you'd ever do it this way instead of always just using another Pokemon to fight it with, but I just hope there's a good narrative reason for it, and more importantly, that it's fun. Even if the series is sticking with turn-based battles for now, this idea of doing anything that requires quick reaction times, that's big. This has the potential to add some much-needed excitement to the series, and to make encounters with bigger Pokemon feel much more important, more like actual boss battles. This new system has got to land. Gosh, I'm so excited to try it out. I've got hopes for the world itself, too. I liked the wild area in Sword and Shield, and felt like it was at least a taste of what I want a modern Pokemon game to be like. It really wasn't much more than a taste though, since there wasn't a ton to do beyond hunting Pokemon. It was really just a big place where Pokemon hang out. I do realize that if your primary goal in Legends Arceus is catching and research, there's a fine chance that the same will be true here. But I'm very much hoping that the world is interesting, with stuff to do and places to explore and cool things to find. I don't want to run from one end of an area to the other in a couple minutes, and that's it. Now all that's left is to catch Pokemon. Some kind of actual progression would be great. Maybe something to find and collect, like in open world games. Anything to make it feel like I'm actually exploring and discovering. One really big mystery surrounding Legends Arceus is how integral to the overall experience is battling. This is what will largely determine if this is the next step for Pokemon or more of a spin-off. If training and fighting Pokemon is something you do all the time, then there you go. But if it's something you do every once in a while, and catching and research and all that are more important, then who even knows how this game will factor into the overall series moving forward. Just before I recorded this, they released another little teaser, and it made it look like maybe battling is a last resort after failing to capture a Pokemon on your own. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely hoping for a good amount of battling. I love the new forms of gameplay, but I am excited to try out the new battle mechanic. And the feeling of building up a strong team is like the best thing about Pokemon. I don't want running around and throwing Pokeballs to be the main thing of the game, you know? And the new battle mechanic, I'm really hoping it has a significant impact on how battles work. I know when you look at the meta and competitive play and all that, there's certainly strategy involved in Pokemon battles, but for a casual player, there ain't much to it. So I want this new system to mean something. I want to be frequently working hard to figure out which type of move I should use. And if there are any other changes to battle, then all the better. Basically, I'm hoping for as many changes as possible. Even just changing the pacing of battle will make a huge difference for me. One of my biggest problems with Pokemon is being forced to use the same slow, sluggish, awkward, stilted system we had on the Game Boy. This is a chance to break away from the norm, freshen things up. And speaking of breaking away and freshening things up, I want to see that in as many areas as possible. I want this to feel like a Pokemon game, but like a new Pokemon game. I know this can be a fine line to walk. When are you innovating, and when are you simply changing what makes a series great? How different can it be before it stops feeling like itself? How do you make a Pokemon feel like a better Pokemon instead of just not Pokemon? I do not have all the answers, but I can at least hope they manage to stay on the right side of that line. Maybe I'm hoping for too much, but I just don't want Pokemon Legends Arceus to feel like a spin-off. I want it to feel like a step in a new direction. Not like a safe, quasi-experimental half-step. A full step. A bold step. I want it to build the foundation for future Pokemon games. And finally, I just want it to be good. You know, I want to genuinely enjoy it without having to force myself to finish it, or without racking up a giant list of if-onlys and buts, or cherry-picking all the good elements so I can convince myself that I'm having technically enough fun. Like, just like enough, like, just, yeah, okay, it's good enough. No, I just want to like it. I want to play it and have fun. Also hoping for too much? No idea at this point. All I can do now is wait. But let us wait together. Please tell me about the things that you are hoping for in the Pokemon Legends Arceus game for the Nintendo Switch family of systems. And in the meantime, I don't know, take a bath.